So I guess Domain is just a white-green deck now? Like, it was already pretty much a white-green deck because it was essentially just Leyline Binding, Up the Beanstalk, put those two cards together and let the magic happen. But now we've really passed the point where Atrax is not really necessary. The blue cards are really only if you still really like the idea of milling people out with Jace. There are other finishers, and as soon as you decide to pick a finisher that's in white or green, you've got your 5-color Domain deck in 2 colors. Okay, for those who are maybe less acquainted with the incredibly pervasive Domain deck, this was just, it was Leyline Binding .deck, and it became Up the Beanstalk .deck, and then you would just take the cards that make those two things work that happen to overlap together. You had Herd Migration, which is a fantastic low-cost life gain, get a land spell that also would then draw a card when you cast it later in the game. This is a deck that could play Temporary Lockdown, had absolutely no problems with that. You would Atraxa, get a bunch of stuff, and then draw an additional card. But at least you had to play lands of many different colors, and so you are playing additional colors anyway, so you would play some blue. Well, Duskmourn has changed that, because now we have Overlord of the Hauntwoods that just one card activates Domain for you entirely, makes your Leyline Bindings cost 1 again, and also while it does that, it's a Topiary Stomper that triggers Up the Beanstalk and draws a card. Like, it's just the perfect top of the triangle that is this deck. We got Leyline Binding, we got Up the Beanstalk, and just Overlord of the Hauntwoods in the top here. If this looks like an Illuminati symbol, it's because that's what I believe is creating this deck. On top of that, we got an extra 2-mana removal spell that triggers Up the Beanstalk. It is Seized from Slumber, which people might not be paying attention to because it is like a common chaff card. But the whole point of Up the Beanstalk is that it makes cards work with it, that you're like, wait, what? What's going on? I'm drawing cards. And it's not like white control is an underexplored avenue of play right now. There's mono-white control, there's Jeskai control, there's white-red control, there's white-black mid-range. Like, we know what the good white cards are, and we know that they prop up a deck with basically anything alongside of them. Like, you just play Temporary Lockdown, you play Sunfall, you've got some of the best cards in the game. You stick a Beza in. I'm going insane looking at this deck because the profile just writes itself in 30 seconds. Here. Hi, I'm Michael from Michael the Gathering. This is how to build white-green Domain. Binding, Beanstalk, Migration, Sunfall, Lockdown, like and subscribe, Hauntwoods, Seized from Slumber. Add the, like, 1 or 2 slots worth of extra stuff that you want in the deck, and that's just an incredible Domain deck that's going to beat most things. For some discussion of actually interesting cards to put in those final slots, Beza is fantastic. It's just one of the best white cards ever. I'm big on Virtue of Loyalty as a good token that also triggers Up the Beanstalk when you play it again later. The green Ogre Kaslam, is my based pick for best finisher, because also just you have a bunch of incidental enchantments sitting on the battlefield, so you have 10 permanents way more often than you reasonably should. Oh, important note, if you haven't built a deck like this before, you do need to run an above average number of lands, because the lands are an important part. Like, we're not just curving out basic mountains here. So I would apply at least one of your sort of card slots, you know, half a slot to a full slot to just for Fabled Passage. Like, treat Fabled Passage like it's a 0-mana spell and not like a land in your land slots. And speaking of supremely based, I'm really high on Seed of Hope in this deck. 1 mana, gain some life, put just a permanent from the top of your deck into your hand. That's a card that I'm not convinced is going to be in like final highly optimized tournament versions of this deck, but I really like it, and it's cheap. This isn't, you're not crafting with a mythic wild card here to try it out in your deck. So I'll go to bat for that card whenever. Oh, and for the record, we're playing no actual ley lines. If it's not at least into rope play, I don't fuck with it.